necessary information. But yeah, if you see me looking over or like holding onto my notes, it's because I can't really see very well, first of all, hence the glasses, and also because I don't want to leave anything out, so I want to refer to the notes that I took. But yeah, so to begin with this election, we're going to be talking about the Democratic primary, which was relatively large, but the main highlights, or like the main candidates, I would say, were Jerry Brown, who was the governor of California at the time, Bob Kerrey, who was a senator from Massachusetts, I believe, and Bill Clinton, who was the governor of Arkansas. Now, at the time, H.W. Bush was kind of already seen as like the front runner of the election because he had up for debate, but he had pretty good foreign policy, depending on who you ask, obvi, but pretty good foreign policy, and he had a really good like approval rating, which was sitting like in the high 80s, I believe. And so yeah, he was kind of seen as like a front runner, like the election he was gonna win essentially. And part of what like went along with H.W. Bush's success specifically was around his foreign policy surrounding the Persian Gulf War, I think it's called. Yeah, the Persian War. I had to refer to my notes so I was accurate. At the time, Bill Clinton was like kind of unknown unless you were like in Arkansas. Didn't really have name recognition, high polling, none of that. He was really unknown. But he was gaining like a lot of like attention, mostly surrounding scandal, honestly, but also like him positioning himself as like a new young Democrat. And also he was from the South, which was like new and intriguing to people as well. Today, though, we would call his kind of Democrats like centrist, because like he is a centrist, but at the time it was kind of like, oh wow, he's pretty progressive. But yeah, he had quite a bit of scandal, as we know. But specifically at this time, the main scandal surrounding his campaign was Jennifer Flowers, who came out publicly and alleged an affair, which at the time, in my opinion, iconic 60 Minutes interview with his wife, Hillary Clinton. They publicly denied this affair, although later, a couple years later, in like the late 90s, I believe, like 1998 or something, I think it was 1998, would actually admit to the affair. Duh, like obviously we knew he did that. Anyway, Tom Harkin won the Iowa caucus, which caucuses are really cool, side note, but like only Iowa and like Nevada, I think, I could be wrong, but I think it's Nevada, do caucuses, which are different than primaries. I kind of compare caucuses to like a focus group, but yeah, caucuses are really cool, and they're like really outdated as well, but anyway. And Paul, I'm gonna butcher his last name, but Paul DeSantis won the New Hampshire primary, but this one was unique because Bill Clinton came in second. He came in second. And this was kind of like the turning point of states are done on this day, and you also get like a pretty good idea of who the front runner will be after Super Tuesday. So yeah, following Super Tuesday, he became the front runner, and after winning California and New York, secured enough delegates to win the nomination. On July 9th of 1992, Bill Clinton selected Al Gore as his running mate, which I love Al Gore. He's probably the best politician. Well, obviously not like the best, but like probably my favorite politician. Robbed in 2000, by the way, might I add. But he was a senator from Tennessee. No, I think it might have been Tennessee. I don't remember, but I think it's Tennessee. I could be wrong though. I probably actually am. But anyway, selected Al Gore. And yeah, they were like a really good balance because Bill Clinton was from the deep south and Al Gore kind of was like a more liberal northerner. Not really northern, but like the kind of balance of like the north and the southern states. And although they were different on a lot of issues, specifically environmental issues, Al Gore will always be a huge environmental rights and environmental policies like advocate. Whereas Bill Clinton didn't really focus on any of that stuff as much, but they aligned on most things, of course. And two Republicans challenged H.W. Bush in the Republican primary. Obviously, as H.W. Bush was the incumbent, they didn't really perform well, but one of those candidates was named Pat Buchanan, and the other one being David Duke, who is literally the worst man on earth. Horrible, horrible, horrible person. Horrible. Enter Ross Perot, who was an independent billionaire, who like, I believe he ran initially for the Democratic nomination, didn't perform well, dropped out, came back in as an independent, claimed his dropout was unfounded, so this is alleged, I guess, but claimed this was due to like Republican operatives pushing him out. But yeah, came back as an independent. He was from Texas, and his main election or like campaign focus related mostly to reducing the deficit. And also he was against NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. But his volunteers secured enough signatures to secure his name on the ballot in all 50 states, which is actually, I mean, pretty cool, honestly, because independent candidates don't really do well historically. caused by Reagan's atrocious economy. Um, Clinton Gore began a bus tour like all around the states, which was really successful. But during this time, Bush and Quayle were kind of like flopping, honestly. They were like floundering questions about the economy, and they were actually like, they weren't even really performing well in like really conservative places, so that was alarming. But they were kind of hammering Bill Clinton on like his character, which is valid. But like, and also the fact that he didn't have any military experience, which H.W. Bush had, and also the lack of foreign policy experience. But yeah, during this flopping of Bush, this really, sped up the momentum for Clinton. And during the debates, they also hammered Bill Clinton about smoking marijuana, which is actually really funny because Bill Clinton admitted to smoking marijuana but said he didn't inhale. Again, we don't believe that. But I'm gonna make a little detour here and discuss probably the main reason why I love this election specifically so much. And it is because of the dynamic between Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. Now, Hillary Clinton was honestly, granted she was never like a like on his staff, like of course not, but I would go so far as to say that Hillary was honestly probably the brains behind that campaign in a lot of ways. And this kind of circles back to his governor, I don't know what the word is escaping me, but his tenure as governor of Arkansas. So the first time he won, he was really young, I want to say like early 30s. But Hillary Clinton was a working lawyer at the time, and she also kept her maiden name, which was Rodham. And they also didn't have kids, so they were like a young couple. She was working, like really progressive couple. But one of the reasons why Bill Clinton lost re-election for governor was because the women of Arkansas did not like her like progressive stance in her marriage. Like they were like, why do you not have your husband's last name? Why don't you have kids? Why don't you stay at home? Why do you work? Why are you a lawyer? Why don't you stay home and support your husband? And around this time, Hillary Clinton actually said one of my favorite quotes ever, which was about the fact that she could have done that. She could have stayed home and made cookies and made tea, but she decided to fulfill her profession, which she entered before her husband was in public service. Love that quote. And honestly, I think I directly quoted that. But, she heard that. She was upset with herself for feeling like it was her fault that Bill lost re-election. So, you know what she did? She said, if it's that important to them, I'll change my last name. So she became Hillary Rodham Clinton. Okay, they have a baby. Her name is Chelsea. So now they're more of like they're positioning themselves. Not only did she give people what they wanted, which meant a lot to people, I guess, but, she was kind of like, like I can do both, I guess. And also regarding the 60-minute interview, she, around the time that Jennifer Flowers came out about the affair, she really like stood by Bill Clinton know, I just really love that dynamic. And also, Hillary was just a really smart, she's just a really smart, like, like politician, I guess. Like, she's just extremely smart. And, I really love that, honestly. I just love that dynamic. But, let's get into the results. So, Bill Clinton won 370 electoral votes. He won 32 states, and H.W. Bush only won like 18. The states that Bill Clinton won were Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, D.C., not a state but has electoral votes, Georgia, Hawaii, Illinois, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Vermont, Washington, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. And the fact that he won Georgia was actually kind of like, I don't know, like, I don't think, like, the last time after this election that a Democrat won Georgia was Joe Biden in 2020, which I thought was interesting. I mean, when in 2020 Joe Biden won Georgia, I was gagged because I was like, oh my god, no Democrat has done that since Bill Clinton. So that was kind of a slay to me at the time. But yeah, I think this is where I'm gonna wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed this ramble. I'm really passionate about elections and politics and things like that, so expect more